Alright, welcome along to Here's Rodder's Reviews. We're getting on to X-Men Season 1, Episode 2, Night of the Sentinels, Part 2. So at the end of the last episode, the X-Men were at the Mutant Control Agency, and they were just about to walk through this door that had guards behind it. So we pick off just where we left off at, and Wolverine's sense of smell kicks in, and he gets the odour of gun oil, so he knows there's guards on the other side. They're taken out very swiftly by Storm, and they manage to get their way to the records room to destroy the files of the Mutant Control Agency, both the computer files and the paper backups of everything. Morph gets rid of the guards and anybody that's in there by changing his appearance and voice to mimic a high-ranking military officer, gets him out of the way. So Wolverine, Morph, and Storm and Beast are in there to do that. Outside we have Cyclops and Gambit, and Rogue is taking on the military personnel outside, and a great little action sequence, has to be said. One of the things that definitely stood out for me in this episode was Rogue. Have to say now, love the character of Rogue and the X-Men, and I think that character was pretty much done dirty when it came to the live action X-Men movies. I think that version of Rogue just did not respect this character whatsoever. She's fantastic. The big bit that jumped out for me with her in this episode is, at one point, Cyclops, sorry, I just got distracted by my phone. Cyclops takes out a guard tower, and the guard falls from the top of it. Rogue sweeps in, grabs him in midair, has taken him to safety, but his first reaction, instead of being grateful for her saving his life, is he automatically just goes at her like, let me down, you freak. So you're seeing in this episode, and details like that, as the hatred that the humans have towards the mutants, and they don't want anything to do with them. Yeah, that's very well done and put together. Great storytelling. Very, very simply done. Just if they want to make a point on something, they'll just, in the middle of an action sequence, they'll just slip something in there. They got absolutely fantastic. So the mutants the X-Men manage to destroy the files. They're trying to get out of there. Gambit charges up one of his cards, destroys the security fence, which is electrified. The X-Men get out. They're heading towards the Blackbird, I want to say. Is that the name of the X-Men's ship? I'm almost sure it's Blackbird. If not, correct me. As they're heading towards it to escape, they are set upon by 3 giant Sentinels. As that attack starts, you see Morph jumping in to protect Wolverine, pushing him out of the way. You see you see a shot of Wolverine, you see like a flash to the side of him off camera. We don't get to see the entire fight at this point. Pretty much the next thing we know is the plane arrives back at the mansion, and the couple of chairs is empty. There's no sign of Morph or Beast, and Storm, she just falls into tears whenever they get home, and Wolverine walks off the plane following Cyclops and literally punches him as hard as he can in the stomach, and then brings out the claws and tells him, next time you're getting these. So for an animated show that originally came out on kids TV back in the 90s, this is a very, very adult show. Now, having said that, the vast majority of the stuff we were getting throughout the 80s and the early 90s, as far as the stuff we were going home from school to watch, was very, very adult themed in a lot of ways. Fantastic. The shows these days just don't have that same element really anymore. But I have to say now, X-Men 97 is definitely going with the spirit of the show. Fantastic. While that attack was going on, the reason we didn't get to see it was because that scene was broken up by Jean Grey back at the mansion. She's using Cerebro to keep an eye on everything that's going on. She feels something's not right with Morph. She freaks out, takes the helmet off. Xavier takes it, puts it on. He can't sense Morph. So the only conclusion they can bring up at this point is that Morph has been killed. And yes, Jean Grey goes to inform the X-Men that Morph has been killed. So she breaks up Wolverine and Cyclops. They're about to go at each other. You know, Wolverine's just give Cyclops the dig in the guts. He's ready to retaliate, but they get the news. Wolverine storms off. He's about to leave the mansion. He gets into his wagon. He's about to go. He then gets out and takes the roof off Cyclops' car. Jean Grey comes to try to stop him from leaving. He tells Cyclops that just made him a convertible, which he says, you know, this isn't Cyclops' fault. But before she gets to finish what she's saying, he has driven off, and what she was going to say next, that's not your fault either. So we do, at this point, we're filled in on what actually happened with the rest of the fight with the Sentinels. As Wolverine's driving, he starts to have these memories of the fight. We get to see the full confrontation, and essentially the X-Men were completely overpowered by the Sentinels. The original three that started the assault were joined by more and more. So as the X-Men wrote, they had to retreat. Cyclops agreed to the retreat. Storm was the first one to bring it up. We need to get out of here. And he agreed. Let's go. Of course, Wolverine, he didn't want to leave. He was going to go back, but Rogue knocks him out by using her powers. So, of course, if she touches anybody's skin to skin, she takes the power from them. And that plays a big part in X-Men 97. I digress. She knocks Wolverine out, and this way he's taken on board the Blackbird, taken back. But the one thing we do get to see is when Morph jumped in to help Wolverine at the start of the fight, one of the Sentinels blasted him full power in the face. The kill shot, essentially. We'll just keep it at that at the minute. I know exactly what happens with this character as we go on. But, yes, the Beast was hit by shot by another Sentinel, and he was knocked into the electrified fence, knocked out and taken prisoner by the guards at the place. So it's good stuff, absolutely good stuff. What else do we get to see in here? We cut over to Garrick and what's his face? Let me bring up his name. Garrick and Trask. Garrick, he has Jubilee. He's got her strapped down to a table. He's interrogating her. He wants to figure out who these so-called X-Men are. At which point Trask comes up. They kind of have a head-to-head about, you're jumping ahead of things here. We shouldn't be bringing these things into it at this point as far as Trask is concerned. But Garrick, he's like, it is what it is. I want to test this one to see if we can get the rest. This sort of stuff. We've got ulterior motive. He's connected to the government in a big bad way. And at one point, he's called to the President of America, and she tells him to step back from what he's doing. She's shutting down funding for the Mutant Control Agency, essentially. She's like, these mutants were willing to sacrifice their lives to destroy your records. Have they got something to worry about? So he storms off in a bad temper, goes back to Trask, tells him to shut all down. They're taking the Sentinel program out of the country. Government funding has been taken from this one thing. The next thing is going to be the Sentinel program, essentially. So we cut back over to Wolverine. It's kind of out of sequence, but it does happen in the episode. We get a mirror image of the first X-Men film, that scene with Wolverine in the bar, and he pulls the blades out on a couple of guys after getting into a bit of an argument with them. That happens in this episode, but in a slightly different way. He's in there playing pool. These three guys are giving him abuse, and get out, this is our table sort of thing. At which point Wolverine, being the hard head that he is, pulls the claws on them, about to start a fight, when Cyclops shows up to get Wolverine to help him track down these Sentinels. So we get filled in on the way Cyclops, or how Cyclops' eyes work. Of course, he has the mask over his eyes, shoots the beams out, of course, we know that. But when he's not wearing that, essentially, he opens his eyes at all, energy shoots out. So he has to wear these special glasses when he's not in the X-Men suit, let's just say. You get a demonstration of that in this episode, whenever he walks into the bar to get Wolverine in the middle of a fight with these three guys. And this guy turns around and clear off 4 eyes, the typical abuse that someone with glasses would have got back in the 90s. And Cyclops, he pulls a Clark Kent in this moment, and he's like, you wouldn't have a guy with glasses, would you? And this guy just like, well, take them off then. And he takes the tip of the pool cue and pushes the glasses up, and of course the beam of energy shoots out, takes out the pool table. So yeah, your man's just simply hands Cyclops back his glasses. No, put them back on, please. So the pair of them are still on bad terms, Wolverine and Cyclops, but Cyclops is like, would you like to help me track down the Sentinels base? And Wolverine's like, where and when? So we cut over to Jubilee's house, and Cyclops has came there to talk to her parents about her. Her father, foster parents, I should say, calls Garrick, I believe. When he gets a bit more information from Cyclops, he tells him, okay, look, you need to get out of here right now. We were told to call them if any mutants showed up. So at this point, Cyclops has been banking on this. So as he's leaving, of course, a Sentinel shows up. He takes a blast at the Sentinel, blows one of its arms off. They're programmed to return to base for repairs whenever they get damaged. So this does. It takes off. Cyclops and the X-Men and the Blackbird follow the Sentinel back to its home base, and the final fight starts. But when it arrives, it's damaged, so it crash lands inside the place. Garrick and Trask are in there, shutting down whatever, to move it to another facility, and the X-Men show up. The damage that the Sentinel did when it crash landed also breaks Jubilee out of her restraints. Now, in the first episode, we seen that she was just coming to terms with the fact that, oh, I'm a mutant, I can't control these powers, and you seen her touching different electronical devices, destroying them because she couldn't control the energy that she has. But in this moment, when she breaks free, it's only one of her arms comes loose. She uses her powers to break the restraints on the left arm and the 2 feet, and then she blows her way out through the wall. In the first episode, you seen the only time she could control her powers was whenever her emotions were to protect someone else. Gambit, for an example, was the first time. So this stage, no song and dance about it. It's just not even so much as her herself saying, "Oh, I managed to do this properly this time." No, she manages to pull it off. Gets out, busts through the wall. She's trying to escape, but she's attacked by 5 Sentinels at this point. Thinks she's done for. That's when the X-Men turn up and the final fight starts, and they take out the Sentinels in short order. So at the end of the episode, we see that Cyclops, he is still blaming himself and really questioning, was it right to do what it did whenever I ordered the retreat? And, Morph and Beast, Jean Grey, she's trying to, just tell him, they knew what they were getting into, they would understand. Try not to beat yourself up over this. So the final shot in the episode is Jubilee has made up with her parents and said that, I'm going to go to this school for the gifted that Professor X runs. That's the best place for me. And they're like, come visit us the whole time. And she turns up the door with her suitcase, walks in, the door closes behind her, and that's it. Close out that second episode. Fantastic. The ideas and stuff that they put forward in these shows as far as the X-Men went, fantastic. Most of season 1 stuff that I can kind of recall, it's all familiar, but it's been the 90s since I actually watched this show properly. So I'm having a good time with it. So I'm going to probably get into 2 or 3 more episodes today. So you might get some more uploads later. All been well.